In Lucare, everyone's welcome, and everyone's as happy as a dead pig in the sunshine.
Hello and welcome back to VGC. You're watching our review of Deadly Premonition 2. This review was initially written by Scullion and transcribed for video purposes by me, Steven McInerney.
And with a little southern luck, you might even experience something out of the ordinary.
We feel it necessary to start this review with a disclaimer. This writer is a fan of the original Deadly Premonition. This sort of thing shouldn't always have to be declared, but given that the first game is notoriously one of the most divisive titles of all time, even to the extent that it's literally got a Guinness World Record for most critically polarizing survival horror game, easily the most arbitrary award ever, well, it feels like we should make it clear. After all, this follow-up sequel has more than its fair share of issues to discuss, and it's important to understand that these aren't being addressed out of general dislike for the franchise. We absolutely understand and embrace the so bad it's good qualities of the original. Deadly Premonition 2 is both a sequel and a prequel to the first game. It involves a modern-day story revolving around two FBI agents who are investigating a case long thought to be closed, and their hope that Agent Morgan, now an emaciated, hostile shadow of his former self, can be relied on to help them solve it.
Are you looking for something new? Are you looking for a home away from home?
Of greater interest to fans of the original, however, will be the prequel element of the game, which takes up the lion's share of the adventure. Set in 2005, a few years before the first game's events, it once again puts players in control of the Agent Morgan they know and love, or York as he still insists on everyone calling him, as he tries to get to the bottom of a bizarre ritualistic murder in a small fictional New Orleans town called Le Carré. It's these 2005 sections that are by far the most entertaining, mainly because York is the same bizarre character he was in the first Deadly Premonition. As before, the conversations he has with the townsfolk he encounters, as well as the ones he has internally with his alter ego Zack, are the driving force behind the game's endearingly upbeat vibe. York's dialogue is a complete mess in the best possible way. One minute he's gushing in great detail about his fascination with the Deep South and its customs, the next he's going on lengthy speeches about the filmography of Forrest Whitaker. He has the attention span of a goldfish, the enthusiasm of an 8-year-old, and the encyclopedic knowledge of IMDb. Much like the original, this will either delight or infuriate you depending on your tastes. Cutscenes last significantly longer than they would in other games, because what would otherwise be a fairly simple plot point is usually bookended with lengthy, inane discussions about modern attitudes towards religion or the difference between Cajun and Creole food.
Be sure to treat yourself to some delicious Creole cuisine.
Some players will see these moments as a bizarre treat. Others, however, will constantly find themselves desperately urging the game to get on with it, a request that almost always goes unanswered. One area that will have all in agreement, however, is the game's performance. To be frank, this is one of the most shambolic final products we've seen in modern gaming with regards to stability. In particular, the open world sections, where players explore the streets of Le Carré either on foot or on a skateboard, are shockingly executed. We aren't just talking frame rate dips here, although the frame rate is indeed woeful. At times the game can outright lock up for half a second, completely throwing your concentration off. Pedestrians and other objects appear out of thin air from mere meters away, and bugs and glitches are all too common. We made one pedestrian slide away into the distance by bumping into them, then half an hour later we walked to a river, tried to skim a stone, and it fell through the bottom of the game world. It would be almost forgivable, not quite, but almost, if Le Carré was a looker, but it isn't. It's such a drab, featureless town with unimpressive buildings, huge open plains of grass and small caravans dotted around. The loading times are also astronomical. Leave a building and return to the open world section again, and you'll spend so long looking at a loading screen with a picture of a tree on it that you'll eventually start trying to convince yourself it was an acorn when you started. The truly bizarre thing though, and bear in mind we're talking about a game where all the staff at your hotel are actually seemingly one man with a split personality, is that something about Deadly Premonition 2 compels you to play on in spite of its thoroughly unacceptable performance.
Or invite your friends to a friendly game of bowling at Alexis Barring Lane.
This is a buggy, janky, often broken mess, and yet we kept going to the restaurant to use its bowling lane for a spot of 10 pin, we kept heading for the lake to try and better our stone skipping score, we regularly took to the fields to have fistfights with squirrels, missing them by about 6 feet but watching them keel over anyway, and most importantly of all, we kept playing because we wanted to see what would happen next, and we wanted to see what York and the town's residents would say next. Like the original, this is a game that lives or dies by its eccentricity, and those who click with it won't be able to put it down, despite it seemingly doing everything in its power to make you want to. The reality is that for better or worse, there still aren't many games out there like the original Deadly Premonition, and this sequel absolutely is one of them. For all its faults, and there are enough to fill a phone book, it still delivers that uniquely eccentric vibe the first game did, and as a result, fans will still take some satisfaction from what's on offer here.
An echo of pain that's been long forgotten.
Guys, thanks for watching our review of Deadly Premonition 2. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you are new to VGC and check out some of the other videos on our channel. For now though, have a wonderful day and we'll see you very, very soon.